little technological blip there. So we're just going to continue with a good man is hard to find.
Sweet.
So is there a moment or two that you could describe in great detail from
I think
the story?
the moment that I have like the most detail for is just the moment where the misfit is with the old woman and they're sitting there, and basically he has a gun, like obviously pointed at her, so she's worried, and they're talking and she's like rambling on, trying to convince him that he's a good person and just talking to him about how like he wouldn't do something like this, like basically that he's not the person that he's making himself out to be, like, oh, like all these things you're doing, like that's not you, you're a good person, you wouldn't want to kill these people, you didn't want to do that, like it's not what you want to be doing, and that you just need to like look to God like I do, and basically then you'll be a good person, like that's just how you have to do it, like you're great. And he just kind of doesn't think she's right, obviously. He's just kind of like, no, like what you're saying just is so completely, like, she's like very closed-minded, I guess is kind of what he's thinking. And then like right before he kills her, she like touches him and like calls him her child, and she kind of realizes that, you know, there's no real way of like stating who's better or worse in the situation, that she can't really bring like her moral code into the moment because that just, it's not everyone's thing, that's not what makes a good person. And he kills her, and his friend looks to him and is like, she was like a good person. He was like, well, she would have been a good person if there had been someone there to hold a gun to her head every second of every day. And basically he said that because he judges people's goodness on their closeness to humanity, like how they speak to others, that kind of thing. And like she kind of in the end realized that they were both just like people, and that was, yeah, good moment.
Yeah. And what is the point of this story? Like why should we still read it today?
Is it still recording? Did it just
It
stop?
is.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Why should we care? Well, I think it was basically Flannery O'Connor just trying to show everyone that you can't really, there's not really one way to judge a good person, because it changes through who you're talking to. Everybody has their own moral code. Everyone has something that they think makes a good person. So her thinking that it's God, or him thinking that it's humanity, like those two things are completely just a personal idea. You can't really judge it on that. I think it was just trying to show people that like you can't judge what a good person is by your own standards. It's just not really possible.
And so what is one connection that this story has, or one bit of relevance to your own life?
Well, I think for me, I'm a very judgmental person, probably on accident, but that's okay. But I definitely judge, I think even just my family, because like my grandparents like don't hate Trump, and I hate Trump more than anything in this entire universe. And so I get into so many arguments where I'm like, no, like you're morally wrong, like that's not, like you're not a good person if you think that that's okay. But I mean, I think reading this story, I kind of realized that you can't really, I can't judge that based on my own thing. Like that's my own opinion about what makes you good, but that can't be a universal thing, and I shouldn't be that way, that judgmental towards them basically, because they have their own moral code, their own views that I can't change or do anything about. Yep.
Cool. Right. Quick view. No teleprompter. No teleprompter.
Nothing telling me what to say.
Candid memories. So let's do. The other one also has good in the title. I'm gonna mix it up.
Oh, the Good Country People.
Good Country People.
Okay, this one has so much going on that I just get so confused. But it's okay. So it's basically.
So we'll start with just a basic plot overview.
Yeah. So it's like this daughter and this mother, and then this other lady, and I don't remember what her connection is, but she like lives with them, I guess. And the daughter doesn't have a leg, or has like a prosthetic leg, and she lost a leg when she was like 10, and she's insecure about it, and she changed her name to Holga when she was like 21, but her mom like refuses to call her that, which was so weird to me. But I also don't know why she changed her name. But I feel like it's because like the word like joy. She was a very unhappy person. I feel like she's not like being associated with happiness. That's okay. And so basically this Bible seller comes, and he takes Helga out on a date, and they go to this barn basically, and she's like totally does not believe in God, does not believe in like Christianity, like her mother does, and she does not. She's just like, I don't believe in this. I'm not about it. And then he basically takes on this date, and they're talking, and she's like, how do you, like, I just don't believe in this. How do you believe in it? And he's like, oh no, like, you think I believe in this? I don't. And he like, and they open the Bible, and like the Bible's hollow, and it has like condoms in it, like porn cards, and like cigarettes, I think. And basically he's like, yeah, I don't believe in this either. It's all like a persona. And then he's talking to her, and he like wants her to show him how her like leg comes off. And so she's like, no, I don't want to do that. That makes me super uncomfortable. And then he basically convinces her to. And when she takes it off, he takes it and like runs away, which is just like the weirdest thing ever. And then like he leaves her up there, like, oh yeah, they're on the top of a barn, like in a little barn thing. So it's like up some stairs. She's like stuck up there with no leg, and he just like ran away with it. And then he's like going, and he's leaving, and the mom like doesn't even think that like he did anything. She's just like, oh, must have been selling the Bible to the black people. Like, that's so nice, because like she obviously thought so highly of him. She didn't think of him doing anything bad. And it's kind of ambiguous, but the other lady who's with her, who lives with them, kind of seems like she knows what's happening in a way. I mean, it's obviously didn't say that she did, but I kind of thought that maybe she knew something. That's just my own personal thought. Yep.
And so is there a moment or two that you could describe in great detail, interaction between the characters? Or
I think that, I mean, obviously when they're going to their date, basically, they go up, Holga and the Bible guy, they go up to like the barn, and they just have like kind of just a very interesting relationship, because she obviously thinks they have very different views, and it's just a weird moment because they're kind of talking about it, like she does not believe in Christianity, and then she realizes that like he doesn't either, and that he's supposed to be like this Bible salesman, and he has like a hollow Bible with like crazy shit in it that like good people aren't supposed to have, where she comes from. So it's like this crazy moment where she's like, wow, like what even is good anymore? Like, I don't even know what to believe, because like I feel like her mom wanted her to go there with him to like start believing in God or whatever, and she's like, well, he doesn't even believe in God, like he's supposed to be this great person, he's not. And then, you know, she's still kind of trusting him, and then she chooses to take off her leg, which is kind of like a vulnerable thing for her, obviously, and then he takes it, and it's just like the weirdest thing. It's just like, wow, you just stole her prosthetic leg, okay. What? Why would you do that? And that was just like a really weird moment for me.
totally. And like, why would he do that?
Yeah, like what was with he obviously has like a prosthetic fetish, like it's obviously what's happening. Like he has some sort of obsession, like takes people's things. Yep. Takes their prosthetics.
Could there be another interpretation of that? Like, what if there was anything symbolic about it?
Yeah, I that's what really confused me. Like I was just wondering. I was like, why the leg? I'm pretty sure. I don't know if somebody brought this up in class, but I remember there being something about like an eye too. A glass eye. I don't think that's part of the story though, Rob. Just it's fine. But I don't know. I don't know why the leg though. Like I understood that like he was like maybe just to kind of show that he like wasn't as good of a person as he seemed. Like he had to hold up this whole persona of like being super good, and maybe he just got like maybe when he was on his own, where people couldn't see him, he just wanted to do bad things or mean things, terrible, like cruel things to people, because it kind of made up for him, where he would have to like pretend to be good all the time when he obviously wasn't. And so maybe that's why he took it, just because that's just something that he did to kind of deal with the fact that he had to pretend all the time.
Fascinating. Yeah, it's an interesting plot moment to interpret. Yeah. Let's see, what are our other two things we did? Moment with the character, theme. What's the point? Like, who cares about this story? What's the main thing?
This story?
Why
I mean, this story was such a weird story to me, but I think the theme was just that, like, I mean, it's gonna sound really cliche, but like the whole you can't judge a book by its cover thing. Like, this woman was like so caught up. I mean, the mother was so caught up in like him being a good person, because he was like a Bible salesman. He was like supposed to be a good person. Like he couldn't even see that he was like doing bad things. And I think it's just kind of a story showing that like you really don't know people just by looking at them and by what they do or by what you see when they're in front of people. Because everybody in the world puts on personas all the time, depending on who you're around, even if they're just super small and don't really change any part of anybody's life. But I mean, that's something everybody does, and you can't judge someone completely for that, because like they're not going to be exactly who you think they are, depending on who you're around. I think that's kind of an everybody type of thing. So everybody has different ways they interact with different people, whether that's, I mean, obviously that was a way bigger scale of crazy, that this guy was obviously like really not a good person. Like not everybody's just like a horrible person underneath, but like everybody has kind of something that they put on when they're around different people. And I think that story kind of shows that.
And what would be one way this story connects in your own life?
I don't really know if the story itself connects to my life, but I think that like some of the themes, like the fact that like you really just can't judge like people's personas, I think that I at least see it a lot just around me, because in high school it's weird how many different sides of people you see, just because when you're around different people there's just a totally different way of interacting. Everybody has just like very big differences, and I mean I think it's really because there's a big, like you really want to impress everybody, and I feel like that's why there's like so many different personas of everybody. And I think everybody still acts like as themselves, but there's just certain like little things that everybody will do around different, depending on who they're around. Just that isn't completely true, which I think is interesting, because I think that, I mean obviously that was a way crazier scale, but I think that's kind of what the story was about.
And is there anything more you want to say about this story?
No. I can't think of anything.
That's I just making sure. So should we just move right on to Everything That Rises Must Converge? Sure.
Okay, so Everything That Rises Must Converge is about this mother and son dynamic, and basically this mom that wants to go to like the she's kind of older, she's like an old lady. She wants to go to the YMCA because she has like a class there, some sort of, I forget what kind of class it is, but she wants to go take this class, and she's like, no, you have to take me on the bus. And the bus is like a racially mixed bus. And it's this, so basically they go, and the son is kind of showing you how racist his grandmother is, or leading you to think his mom is mom is really racist, and you kind of don't see it, but then in the end you kind of realize that it's not really his grandma. Like his grandma's is like a little bit I keep saying grandma. His mom is racist, but it's different. It's kind of a weirdly different way, because she's like her age, like the kind of people that she is, I don't know how to say this, like her generation of people their racism is not as important, I guess, because like, first of all, they're dying out, but second of all, because like they were all grown up that way, and it's like almost a little more excused, but like you find out that he's actually really racist, and it was just kind of like and his racism is way more important, obviously, because he's like a young dude, and his generation is really important to where society's going and like where it's heading. And it's just it's a really weird dynamic when you kind of realize like, oh wait a minute, like you didn't even think about it, but he's actually really racist. And he says he's doing it to spite his grandma, but it's like he's doing it all the time, and it's kind of really hidden. So
and so
basically what it's about.
Yeah, and so that's a great overview. So just like you just said, like he's doing it all the time. Like what are a couple of moments?
Okay, so there's this one moment where they're on the bus, and he basically is like, I guess thinking like he wants to talk to the black people to show that he's not racist. So he like asks one of the black people for like a light, to like light a cigarette, but he doesn't have a cigarette. So it's just like, and so then he just like takes the matches and then gives them back. And it's like this really weird moment where like he obviously just did that just to like be like, oh, look at me, like I'm talking to black people. And it's like that in itself is racist. Like you think you need to like talk to the black person just to like make yourself feel better, like that's obviously like a racist moment. Another one is where he's talking about spiting his mother, and he's like, I'm gonna bring home this black woman doctor like to make her mad. And it's like just this really racist moment where you're